What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. Okay, so I was asked a question and I'm going to answer. Now, I don't like to answer questions with questions, but sometimes there can be an exception, okay? So let me answer this question this way. I was asked, do I think Manny Pacquiao is making excuses to his loss to Ugas? Okay, and also the person stated that Manny Pacquiao is a great fighter and had a great career and has done a lot and has accomplished more than most boxers. And he's very credible. And that's true. Let me answer that question by saying this. If Manny Pacquiao had to beat Ugas, right? Now, Manny Pacquiao said that his legs were cramping. His legs were tight. Tightness in the legs, not cramping. He said they were tight. Well, that's pretty much what he's saying. Okay, the tightness is a tight, cramping feeling that you get when you overtrain a lot of times. That's really what it comes from. Excuse me, not stretching properly, all that kind of stuff as well. So he said he couldn't move because of the side, because of that. And the interviewer asked him, "Did you think it was Father Time?" And Manny didn't really directly answer that question. I don't know if he kind of understand what he meant or if he just, didn't. But that was what he said, that why he couldn't move. Now, let me say this. With all the credibility that he has, and yeah, he did a lot, man. Like I said, man, he has nothing else to prove. As long as you're putting gloves on competing, you're going to have something to prove. So what I'm saying is, what is it left for him to do? What other record is he trying to break that's necessary? What is he trying to accomplish other than what he's done already, right? So you can have love for something and all that, but at some point, you got to know when it's time to walk away as well, okay? If Manny Pacquiao had to beat Ugas, and Ugas would have said, I really couldn't move the way I wanted to because my legs were cramping, would you have said, oh, come on, Ugas, stop making excuses, Manny's just the better fighter? Think about that. Notice I didn't mention it in my video that I made about Manny because I just didn't really, it's not like nitpick every little thing you hear, and it wasn't about trying to throw dirt or anything. But listen, in all fairness, every time somebody says something was wrong with them in the fight, everybody says, hey, listen, it's an excuse. Manny Pacquiao had an incredible career. A lot of fighters have had incredible careers. Okay, it doesn't mean that they all still human beings. Now, because you as fans put certain fighters on pedestals doesn't change anything. Okay, Bernard Hopkins has had an incredible career. Did Bernard Hopkins not lie to us and say that he got pushed out the ring in his last fight when we clearly saw him get punched out the ring? Fell backwards and not his head, which it looked like his head might have hit the floor, I don't know, but not his head, but his ankle, which went straight back, and his ankle didn't hit the ring apron, nothing. He went straight back, and then he said, oh, my ankle swollen. Now remember, he's the same guy that said he don't believe Errol Spence, and he said, I'm going to need to see a doctor's note or something for proof. Did Bernard Hopkins take off his sock or whatever, take to show his swollen ankle to prove that? No. And then he sat there and told us he got pushed out the ring. We all could clearly see. You remember, before I know this is Robert Easton all over again, I'm getting pushed out the ring. No, you got punched. He got beat up, and he didn't want to continue. It was a 20 count, and he purposely had his back turned to the ring and ignored the count because he did not want to go in. Now imagine a Bernard Hopkins fan feeling some kind of way because you're telling the truth about what we saw happen. I'm not sitting there telling you nothing that you didn't see. That's what he did. He didn't want to continue, and then he pretended that his ankle was all, and he didn't show any proof. So maybe the reason he don't believe Earl Spence is because he know the type of lies that he told. Like, hey man, I lied about a lot of stuff in my career. So he said that, and we saw different. Okay, Manny's legs might have been tight. You know, Shane Mosley vowed that he was going to destroy Floyd Mayweather. I'm going to be too much man for him. You know, I'm going to do this and this and this. Remember what happened when he got interviewed? Remember the face he made? Remember that? And then he says he don't know it was because Floyd was pushing down on his neck, but he just couldn't throw punches. I just couldn't throw punches. Yeah, I just couldn't throw punches. He had no excuse, just no reasons. I just couldn't throw punches. When he lost to Manny Pacquiao, remember his father was telling him, Shane, you gotta let your hands go. Remember what he said in the corner? It's his father. I got a blister under my foot. I can't move. And his father just gave him that look like, Shane, come on, man. Excuses. Okay? When Manny Pacquiao fought Floyd Mayweather, I think I win the fight. That's what he said. He raised his arms. Nothing was wrong with his shoulder at that point. Raised his arms, got up on the ropes, raised his arms, walked around the ring, doing all of this. And you ask anybody who's ever had a torn rotator cuff how easy that is to do. I don't want to hear nothing about, but the adrenaline. No, bro. We saw him raise his arm. We saw him blow kisses at the crowd. And then we saw him come to the post conference with a sling on his arm. And then all of a sudden, he's healed in a week or so from swimming in some sea salt. Okay. Now, if Floyd Mayweather had lost that fight and said, yeah, man, and did the same thing, raised his arms, blew kisses to the crowd, threw all them punches that Manny was throwing but just missing, and said, hey, yeah, I think I won the fight. Then turn around and say, the reason I lost the fight is because my shoulder. Would you guys have said, Floyd, you making up excuses, or I believe him? What would you have said? Floyd Mayweather has said in between fights that my body's breaking down. I'm getting older. I'm fighting smarter and wiser. Floyd is saying this to you. This is not some leaked conversation that he didn't. No, he's sitting there being interviewed, telling people, I fight smarter. I fight different. I take my time. I use my mind. When I was younger, it was more the physicality, but now I'm smart. That's my biggest attribute. Everything he said. I'm smart. I'm sharp. It's the way I put everything together. He's telling you guys, my body's breaking down. He's saying this shit. Okay? People said Floyd left the sport too soon. He was 38. 50-0. Rocky Marciano left the sport 49-0 and was 32. Nobody said Marciano left the sport too soon. He was only 32 years old. So people are always going to have opinions, whether biased or whether legit, okay, whether genuine. My thing is this. Your accolades and your integrity, right? There are two different things. You can be a person that has credibility, but let's just be honest, okay? You can't yourself say somebody else is making excuses if they say they couldn't do something or I lost because of. But then when it's a fighter you like, oh, he has integrity. Because what you're saying, you make it sound like every fighter that's an opponent of the fighters you like are just liars. Every fighter you like is just 100% legit. Lomachenko lost the fight to Teofimo and said his shoulder was bad. You didn't see one time in the fight where he looked like he had a bad shoulder. Where he couldn't do, no. It just looked like he couldn't figure Teofimo out. He was trying his best and it didn't work. Manny Pacquiao, okay, and I'm just giving you the facts of what we saw. Not one time in the fight with Floyd did you hear him tell his corner, I hurt my shoulder. I can't throw the punches like I want, my shoulder's bothering me. Not one time did you see his corner ice his shoulder down. He has an experienced corner. And for them to say, oh, he injured his shoulder, prior to the fight. So we knew going in that his shoulder was bad. But we thought he could get through it. Well, you should have known to ice his shoulder down in the corner. When Freddie Roach was asked, do you think Floyd won the fight? Without hesitation, Floyd definitely won the fight. Floyd won the fight. There's no arguing about that. He won the fight. Oh, he just said that because he was upset with... No, stop. And he continued to work in Manny's corner even after that, in other fights. Stop. He gave his honest opinion, and now you want to say that he's lying about saying that Floyd won. Come on, people. So what I'm saying is this. Take your fanboyism out of it and look at Manny Pacquiao as a human being just like everybody else. That's who we are. We are all human beings. We are all capable of doing right and wrong. You can't be selective with giving somebody the nod. Like I said, any fighter who says, well, this was wrong and that was wrong, they could be telling the truth. But if you say, no, it's a lie, you just can't be the bigger man and say that the better man won. Then you got to say the same thing for the fighters you like. So I'm going to answer that question that way. Because at the end of the day, I hear people making accusations about other people and not certain fighters. I'll give you an example. People talk about Deontay Wilder supposed to be a holy man. He's talking about wanting to kill people. I agree. That's hypocritical. His fan base will make excuses for him, and we all know that. Okay, but the same way, Manny Pacquiao was supposed to be a holy man. He cheated on his wife, Jinky, and admitted he did it. Admitted it. I'm only human. I sorry. I apologize to her. I make a mistake, and see, this is what I'm saying about people. You can't sit here and attack somebody else, but then you get offended, which nobody should. I mean, all that fanboy shit, it don't live with me. It doesn't resonate with me, so I can't even feel that emotion. But regardless, right is right, wrong is wrong. Now, if you're going to talk about Floyd, domestic situation, you want to talk about Deontay, supposed to be a holy man, saying he want a body on his red, all that. Okay, well, he's a so-called holy man himself, right? So we only talk about what we know. If something doesn't go public, I'm not talking about what somebody did. Like, you never heard me make a video to talk about him and his wife, but I'm just making it as a point. Okay, and he admitted he did it. All right? He didn't go into detail. He just wanted to get the, whatever. And me personally, I wouldn't even ask a person nothing like that. That's not what I'm interviewing you about. We're focused on your boxing career. Let him and Jinky deal with that. You know what I'm saying? But because that's personal shit. Okay? Something coming out of Deontay's mouth about, I want a body on my record and all that. And then, even to say, and those interviews, unless they took him down, where he looked and said, I want to stare a little kid in the eyes. Why is daddy laying on the floor twitching? Why is his body on the floor twitching, dying? And I looked at Deontay and I said, if I was face to face with Deontay, I would say, motherfucker, you remember when your daughter was sick and you said you was contemplating committing suicide because you didn't know how you was going to feed your daughter and you didn't know how you could help your daughter when you was going through financial situations? You didn't just say, I want a body on my record, which is some ignorant shit to say, but you just sat here and said you want to look a little child in the eyes while his daddy lays on the floor dying. So how the fuck would you feel if somebody told your daughter that let's say that happened to you. Okay, you want to go out on your shield with, imagine while you dying, the fighter that killed you, picture this, and you standing there watching him staring your daughter in the eyes like, yeah, I just killed your daddy. That was some ignorant sucker shit. So I can't say that about Deontay Wilder, and let's say Anthony Joshua say the same thing. You think Aries going to sit here and go, well, nah, man, that's different. He ain't mean it that. No. AJ, you a sucker for saying some shit like that. If that's what, I don't make excuses for people. That's what other people do. So I'm making these examples because I want you to open your eyes and understand into, yeah, we're all human beings. I don't do this shit to people. I'm not, oh my God, I don't want to take pictures with Anthony Joshua. I don't want to autograph from Floyd Mayweather. No, they're just human beings to me. In fact, if I saw them in person, unless they said something to me, I probably wouldn't say shit to them. I know who the fuck you are. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not into that fanboy shit. So, I'm not a fan. I'm not one of them, I want to chase people around and get interviews and put them on my... That's not who I am. So I don't see things that way. All I see is human beings. When we die, there's no such thing as a rich man's coffin and a poor man's coffin. It don't make a difference. You're dead. You won't enjoy it. You understand what I mean? So it's not about putting people on pedestals. That's why I tell y'all I don't have no top 10. I don't have no favorite fighters like oh, my favorite this and no. I don't see it like that. I don't get all emotional like that. I'm not emotionally attached to people. But I want you guys to use your head. See, when people, Floyd Mayweather says Manny's making excuses. Okay, so what? So what? So what? Floyd has his opinion, right? He can. So we don't need Floyd to say that for you or me to use our own judgment on what we believe or what we think about what Manny said. He did look after he lost to Floyd. He said he think he won the fight, and then it turned into he lost because of his shoulder. Which one was it? Lomachenko did the same exact thing with Teofimo. I think I won the fight. Then he turned around and said he lost because of his shoulder, and then had the picture with his arm like bandaged up or whatever, his shoulder bandaged up or whatever. So which is it? You could have said that after the fight, but regardless, if Lomachenko was making excuses, why wasn't Manny Pacquiao? If Manny Pacquiao was making excuses, then why wasn't Lomachenko? You can't just sit and select who's lying and who's not. So the build-up to say he has integrity and he has a great career is like trying to say, well, more than likely, he's a trustworthy guy. He's honest. He wouldn't do that. You don't know that. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't believe the shoulder story. Because I've never in my life met anybody. I know a lot of people. I'm around athletes all the time. And I've never met somebody that had a rotator cuff that could lift their arm over their head. Not one. So, he had no problem with it after the fight. During the fight, from the first to the last round, he was throwing hard, fast punches. He just couldn't hit nothing. So, I'm just responding to the question. And I'm answering it honestly, how I feel. I don't care about debating and I think this. Well, people can think what they want to think. It's not going to change what I see. I know what I saw happen, okay? That would be like me saying just imagine if I said somebody stabbed me in my arm, but I'm not bleeding. Aries, you got stabbed? Yeah. Motherfucker took a 12-inch knife, stuck it in my arm, and pulled it back out. Where's the blood? I don't know, but he stabbed me. That wouldn't make sense to you. Now, how the hell could that happen? So, that's how I see that shoulder situation. Okay? When he lost to, I forget the guy name, man. The one Andre Ward, Timothy Bradley. In my opinion, Pacquiao didn't lose that first fight. He didn't lose no fight. In fact, I thought he beat all 3 fights. I can remember in that first fight, I said, man, there's not one round that I feel like you can clearly give to Bradley. Not one. The funny thing was, when Pacquiao was robbed clearly and blindly, he didn't say he think he won the fight. He said, I have to do, next time I do better. That's what he said. Wait. You think that I respect the referee's decision? I have to do better, next time I do better. You think that the referee made the right decision? So wait, you think you beat Floyd, but you think that Tim beat you? Did that make any sense? Did you watch the fight with him and Tim, as well as him and Floyd? And you actually agree? But do you notice before the rematch, that's when he finally said he think he won the first fight. Didn't say it after the fight though. Now, if that would have been somebody else, people would have been all over that. Oh, no, hold up. That's not what you said after the first fight, right? Okay. Just like us saying at the end of the first fight, at the end of the second fight with Tyson Fury and Wilder. Wilder didn't say anything about cheating. Something is wrong with this dude's gloves. You know what I'm saying? And even at the end of the second fight, what did he say? No excuses, but the better man won, no excuse. Why would you say that, but then say we knew all along about this guy, and he cheated, something wasn't right, he knew something was good, all this, but no, that's not what you said. Do you think think about it. Would you know somebody's cheating against you, and you would sit back there and just be quiet about it, and then allow that person to hug you and kiss you on top of your fucking head and embrace you, and then you're gonna stand up there and not bring up the facts of what you thought you knew during the fight? Not one time you're gonna sit there and not say, hey, ref, check his gloves. He doesn't have any pad in his gloves, or that guy, he got some hard object in his glove. You're not gonna say that. You don't hear him communicate none of this to his corner members. Nobody in his corner. So we're supposed to believe, not even to JD's. So we're supposed to believe that all this time, according to his own words, he knew something wasn't right. And all this stuff he's pointing out, he knew it during the fight, but he ain't saying anything. So, I mean, what we believe and what the facts are, we don't know. I can't tell you what Manny Pacquiao's legs felt like. The point for me is this. If you win the fight, we don't hear anything about tight legs, soreness in the arm, the hand, nothing. Nothing. We don't hear that. It's when a person loses. So that was my point when I'm saying Floyd Mayweather's winning fights, but he's actually telling people, you know it. Floyd has many times, my body's breaking down now, and I got to fight smarter and this and this and that. He's telling you that. And then people feel like, oh yeah, see, that's stupid to say because people can capitalize on it, but they didn't. So then when he has a fight with someone and you want him to lose, you expect him to lose, the biggest excuse that people make about Floyd is, oh, Floyd was a master manipulator. He either fought people when they were too young or too old. Yeah, okay, right. Floyd was just perfect. How many times have we seen cherry pickers go wrong? What I will say is this. Floyd Mayweather put the work in before he started the cherry picking shit. He put the fucking work in, and he beat everybody that he needed to beat, including Oscar De La Hoya, to get to that point. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. He was supposed to lose to Canelo. He was supposed to lose to Pacquiao. He was supposed to lose to Oscar De La Hoya. And when that didn't happen, it was sour grapes. Oscar De La Hoya, did you hear what his excuse was? Remember when Canelo was about to fight Floyd? What did he say? Remember that part when he was in the room with Canelo talking to him? He like, come on, when I fought Floyd, I was done. I mean, come on, I was done. This is what he said, which was bullshit. Oscar was still good when he fought Floyd. He's full of shit. He just can't admit that his best wasn't enough to beat Floyd's. Then he turns around and fight who afterwards? Manny Pacquiao. You didn't hear people making the excuse saying Manny Pacquiao only won because Oscar was old. So wait, you was old when you fought Floyd, but then you gonna go on and fight Manny Pacquiao afterwards? Shane Mosley jumps in the ring, calls out Floyd Mayweather with Bernard Hopkins with him, right? And people said, oh, Floyd waited to Shane got old. See, and this is the thing where I'm saying, all of y'all that say that are full of shit, because you can prove it to yourself. I ain't got to prove nothing to you. Go right here on YouTube, pull up, Floyd Mayweather calls out Shane, or Shane jumps in the ring or calls out Floyd. Either way, you will see. And I remember, fuck the replay, I remember Shane being called out by Floyd, and Floyd said Shane hasn't done anything. Shane said Floyd hasn't done anything. Why does he? I mean, he's a good fighter, but he hasn't done anything to get a title shot with me. That was Shane's words. And guess what? Same way. Floyd was coming up in weight, just like Shane did. And guess what? It's after he got his ass whooped several times. Now he's begging for a fight with Floyd. Okay? This is facts. And when he did that, Floyd just beat Juan Manuel Marquez. And who jumps in the ring to interrupt the celebration? Shane Mosley and Bernard Hopkins. So why when y'all tell that story, y'all say, oh, he waited for Shane to get old? No. He said, when I was calling Shane out, Shane didn't want to fight me. And they showed the video clip. I forgot who somebody did that. Everything that was being said, and they made a video. They were showing and they showed all this shit. But I'm talking when it happened. I remember it happening. But even in that, Shane was feeling himself, and he Floyd's a good fighter, but he hasn't done anything to earn a shot with me. You don't just give out title shots. You got to earn it. That was Shane's words. Now, when he interrupted Floyd, how is that Floyd's fault? Oh, he somehow played Jedi mind tricks on Shane, and he knew Shane was going to do that, and he knew he was going to beat Shane because he was like, this is you guys making up stupid ass excuses. Shane jumped in there, talked all that shit. Floyd said, "Oh, it's like this then. You get your people with my people, and we make the fight happen then." He was pissed off, and Shane trying to tell him, "No, I just want the fight. You know this and this and this and this." But no, you interrupt him. Let him have his moment. No. So he asked for that ass whooping. Had 2 good moments in the whole fucking fight. And people lost their shit because they just, oh, yeah. And like they said, he got rocked. Yeah, he got rocked. He held on. He showed poise. And then the motherfucker started walking Shane down after he got rocked them 2 times. And basically, Shane didn't do shit the rest of the fucking fight. And all everybody talked about was those 2 moments. And that goes to show you how bad people want to see a guy lose. When a motherfucker gets dominated, that's probably the only one round that you can give Shane. The only one fucking round that you can give Shane. If you can even give him the fucking round for them 2 good shots. Because he was missing damn everything else. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that's all they talked about. Like you think Shane won the fight. So all I'm saying is, the same fucking mentality that people have when they sit there and make all these excuses up about what another guy did or didn't do. And then, look, let me say this. Somebody was making a comparison about Floyd and Mayweather, right? Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao. And they said something to this person. This person brought up something that I said a long time ago. And I want to make this point clear. I'm going to say it again because, like I said, a lot of times people hear things, they hear part of what you say, they forget everything else you said and just go with that one thing. Floyd has never been knocked out. Okay? Manny Pacquiao has been knocked out 4 times. People will say, yeah, but that was early in his career. Right. And early in Floyd's career, he became a world champion. It took Pacquiao a while. Pacquiao improved. Yes, he did, tremendously. They both got better. Guess what? They was destined to meet in the ring when they met in the ring. And when people say shit like, oh, if they would have fought, like when they first was supposed to fight 3 years ago, Pacquiao would have won. They also had the nerve to say Floyd waited for Pacquiao to get old. When Floyd is 2.5 fucking years older than Manny Pacquiao. So how in the hell does that make sense? He waited for somebody that he's older than to get old. Okay. And then the fact that he even offered the contract to fight Pacquiao before he went to prison, and Pacquiao turned the fight down. Pacquiao said it was against his religious beliefs. He didn't believe in the needles and all this, and I believe he was trying to be sarcastic, but he turned that down. That's just a fact. After Manny Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez, that's when he starts calling out Floyd. All before that, we talked to the managers and trainers and decide, he never could just say, yes, I want to fight. It's after. You look at every Manny Pacquiao interview before he got knocked out, and he never came out flat out and said, yeah, I want this fight with Floyd Mayweather. No, it was always, it was like kind of a, I don't need him, he don't need me. I don't know, it don't matter. We both 2 big stars. It was like no urgency by either guy. Okay. But after he got knocked out, he starts calling him out. No different from when after Shane got several losses on his record and he's trying to rebuild. And the thing about it is, when Floyd beat Ricky Hatton, gave him his first loss, Ricky Hatton was crushing shit. People can talk all the shit they want now, but Ricky Hatton was crushing shit. I don't want to hear no excuses about why he lost to Floyd. He lost because Floyd just beat him. Simple. Pacquiao fought him afterwards. Knocked him out a lot sooner. And people said Pacquiao will beat Floyd because look at how bad he beat Hatton. Floyd outboxed him. And what everybody was overlooking is stylistically, just like Mike Tyson beat opponents that Holyfield fought, but Tyson destroyed him when they gave Holyfield a battle, because stylistically the matchups was like Tyson's style was too much for them. What happened when Holyfield fought Tyson though? And then people made the same dumbass excuse. Oh man, Holyfield waited for Tyson to get old. No, bullshit. That fight was supposed to happen, and then Tyson got his ass whooped by Buster Douglas. Then Tyson went the fuck to jail for 4 years, or whatever it was. Okay, that's what happened. Holyfield ain't wait for shit to get old. And Holyfield is 4 fucking years older than Mike Tyson. And while Mike Tyson was locked up, Holyfield was fighting giants. Won some and lost some, but he was in there putting that work in. So how the fuck did he wait for Tyson to get old? See, this is just dumb shit that people say. Okay. If you look at all of that, it's all subjective and opinions to people, but you can't be subjective to facts. And the problem is with people, they don't want to believe, they don't want to accept what's true. That's their problem. It is what it is, though. So if you break all of that down, and let's look, and out of everything I said, let me say this. I respect Pacquiao's career. And Pacquiao is a guy I like watching fight. Pacquiao was always a solid fighter. He went through his losses, whatever. But bottom line, he's a great fighter. And I take nothing from him. Well, like I said, that's why if you look at the video I just did, you didn't hear me mention one time about him talking about the tightness in his legs. Because it wasn't about me trying to shoot him down. And like I said, listen, he's done everything he can possibly do. And at the end of the day, you don't need for this guy to stick around and wind up getting hurt. Somebody made a comment, even when I was talking about him and Floyd did. Look, Floyd's retired. Let fucking Floyd do what Floyd is doing. Y'all keep comparing Floyd and Manny talking about who's better and who would have did all this bullshit. And somebody made a comparison when I said Manny's not the only person that was fighting prime guys, fighting prime fighters that he was older than. He's not the first guy that was in his 40s that fought younger guys that was in their prime. And somebody made a dumbass comment talking about, yeah, but you got to keep in mind, was they fighting guys that were bigger than them? Was they fighting guys that... First of all, nobody's talking about goddamn size. Some of y'all are not even intelligent enough to stick to the fucking conversations, to the topic. We're not talking about nobody's goddamn size. We're talking about age. And if you want to talk about size, yes, Bernard Hopkins was much smaller than what's the Russian guy that he fought almost, forget the one that Andre Ward retired and shit. I forget his goddamn name. But anyway, that guy. Yeah. Okay, Chad Dawson, much bigger and stronger than Bernard Hopkins. Jermaine Taylor, naturally a bigger, stronger guy than Bernard Hopkins. Antonio Tarver, naturally bigger and stronger than Bernard Hopkins. And George Foreman was the other guy, was one of the other names that I named, but at the same time, because he was 45 when he knocked out Michael Moorer, okay, who was in his prime and was a world champion, young and strong. So to talk about size and all this little petty shit, look, first off, size ain't everything. So let's not try to narrow it down and make it like, oh, but this guy did this and this guy did that and he couldn't. Stop. Because if that's the case, we can also sit here and say, yeah, but Floyd didn't never get knocked out in his career. Manny got knocked out 4 times. It don't fucking matter how early it was in his career. So you can't see, see, this is the type of stuff I'm saying. We sit here and be selective of what we try to build up one person, but try to knock another person down with the same thing. If I was to mention anything about him saying what he said about his legs, I don't think it mattered if his legs was tight or not. I just think right now, Manny Pacquiao is over the hill. He has nothing else to prove, but that's up to him. His hands is much slower than they was. His punches didn't look the same. And the fact is, okay, which is irrelevant to say, it's irrelevant to say, okay? And I'm saying it in a different way. People say it out of anger because they get mad because the guy lost. But in his prime, he would have dusted Ugas. He would have dusted him off. Ugas wouldn't even been a good fight for him. In his prime, he would have beat Ugas. And that's my opinion. But that's not, it's irrelevant because he chose to fight him. Okay? Ugas took the fight on 2 weeks' notice and he dominated. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So, yeah, I mean, you can't say one thing about one person and make excuses for the other. So, that's my take on that. But like I said, take nothing away from Manny. All these guys do what they do, and I respect what they do. You understand what I'm saying? It's just that. And that's why I didn't mention nothing about his legs, because I wasn't trying to attack him. Anyway, never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all in the next video.